Consumer Connect.
Every purchase tells a story. Every experience teaches a lesson. Every consumer has a voice. Good evening, Lagos, and welcome to another exciting edition of Consumers Connect, the program where consumers are not just buyers, they're partners in shaping the products and services they use every day. I am your host, Abikele Ogade. The topic today is listening beyond sales, turning consumers' feedback into better product. Have you ever bought a product and wish that something was different? Maybe the lid was difficult to open, or maybe the packaging was too bulky, or perhaps the product didn't last as long as it used to be. Maybe you could say, I wish this product could just, this brand could just listen to us. Now the truth is, many of the products we enjoy today didn't start out perfect. They became better because consumers spoke up. In fact, you've probably seen those familiar words in adverts on social media or even on product packaging. You asked, we listened. A very common word, set of words. Now, these four simple words has a very powerful story behind it. It is a story of consumers who took the time to share their experiences, a story of businesses that chose to listen, and a reminder that every opinion matters. So tonight on Consumers Connect, we're exploring how consumers' feedback goes beyond complaints. It becomes ideas, innovation, and improvement that benefits everyone. So today we want to get your comments, your opinion, by calling the number 08058975897. Get to talk to us. Let's hear what you want the brands to know. I mean, feedback is the thing that makes it all pleasant for everyone in the marketplace. And we've gone into the streets to gather responses from consumers such as you and I, and would like you to hear some of their responses.
One thing I want brands to know about today's Nigerian consumer is this: we have changed. The economy has shaped the way we think, the way we spend, and the way we make decisions. Today, every naira matters. Before buying anything, we're asking ourselves, do I really need this? Is it worth the price? Will it last? It is a battle between wants and needs. We are no longer impressed by flashy advertisements alone, especially the middle and the lower class citizens. We want products and services that genuinely solve our problems and give us value for our hard-earned money. Nigerians are resilient, but resilience doesn't mean we will continue spending on brands that don't respect us. What today's consumer wants is simple: fairness, transparency, and value. Speak honesty to us. Keep your promises. Don't assume we will stay loyal because we have always bought from you. Loyalty has to be earned continuously.
My biggest frustration when buying products and services is that, most brands package their products without customer retention in mind, and they package their products also without having the followership in mind. So when you buy a product or you patronize a service, you find it difficult to give feedbacks and also to communicate with the brands who had sold the product to you. Peradventure, you have a complaint. Peradventure, there is a problem with the product. Because they don't have that in mind, they may not have the customer centricity in being able to take my feedback and then do better. So it's not all about selling the product, but it's about setting the systems that will help you get feedback about your product so that you can use those feedback, those data to upgrade your package.
Okay, you're still on to Consumers Connect right here. And as you can see, we're getting responses from the street. The number to call to participate, to contribute, to share your opinion is 08058975897. That's the number to call. You can call us on WhatsApp, send a WhatsApp message, and get your voice heard on the program. It's about feedback and how your feedback gets into the brands, most especially how are brands responding to these feedback. More responses from the street.
Yes, my biggest frustration when buying product is price. First, the price. If the price is not friendly, I cannot buy the products. And secondly, I need to look at the quality of the products. The quality speaks a lot about the brand. The price speaks a lot about the price. So my frustration is the price, because the hike of the price is becoming too too high for the consumers to buy. Thank you so much.
Okay, my biggest frustration is about the genuinity and the prices. Most times the prices are always different, and the genuinity of it. Most times you buy some products and you get to you won't meet what you expected. So if brands can just adjust on the prices and the genuinity.
Like most of the people selling it, right? They need to be well equipped with incentives, and it makes the Nigerian consumers to be more trusted in them, because me seeing them with branded t-shirt, branded bags, having the right stuff, you know that yes, they are really from the brand itself. Yeah, that's what will make me trust them.
What will make me trust the brand more is by their transparency and by being honest with the customer and how they communicate with the customer. For example,
We would like to have the original taste, because most of all these brands, if you look at them, they're like imported. And what they do is that when they get to Nigeria, they try to reduce the quality so that to match the.
Okay, there's a call. Hello.
Yeah, is that Brand Colossus?
Yes, you're on to Consumers Connect, sir. You're welcome to the program.
Okay, Consumer Connect. Okay.
Yes, so the conversation is about feedbacks, and let's just share your experience, sir.
My experience is that any brand that want to retain their consumer must of necessity have to get the feedback from them. There's a product I saw that the other time, and getting the feedback, it helps you to rebrand, it makes you to go and recorrect and know what they actually want. If you don't know what your consumer wants, the brand want to go on extinction. So in order not to go on extinction, you need to get the feedback from your consumer. Whether the price is okay, the packaging is okay. You want to get all those feedback if you want to retain your market share. So if you don't get the feedback, you'll be losing your market share indirectly and without knowing. So it's very important that you get the feedback from your consumer.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks for calling in. All right, so something that we can deduce from all of the responses is that consumers appreciate when brands pay attention, and not because companies are perfect, but because they are willing to improve. So sometimes the smallest changes makes the biggest difference. So this is where we move on swiftly into the business behind the brand. And of course, you can always call in. The number to call 080-5897-5897. You can call on WhatsApp, or better still, send your messages via WhatsApp. We'll be willing to read them out. Well, this is the segment where we get to speak to an expert, preferably someone representing the brand, and it's always interesting to hear the perspective. Today we have with us a rep from Colgate. He is Mr. Adetola. He's going to introduce himself the best way he wants to be introduced. I would like to welcome you, sir, to Consumers Connect.
Thank you very much, Ogali.
So please tell us about you. Who are we speaking to today? Or who is speaking to us today?
My name is Oluwatomisin Adetola.
Okay.
I'm the head of marketing for the home care division at Toleram Group.
Okay.
So I'm responsible for Colgate Hypo.
Oh, Colgate Hypo. We have a lot to discuss. I hope the time will let us. Well, I'm sure you've heard all of the responses. And is there anything you would like to comment on the responses? A lot of persons talked about price, quality. Some talked about the fact that they purchase the product, they get home, it's not the same way it's not what they expect. Others talked about your brand ambassador wearing your assets in a way that it gives confidence to the consumer when they're being approached. different perspectives. These are feedbacks from the consumer. So is there anything you like to comment before we move on to the other aspect of the conversation?
Absolutely. Feedbacks is a way of life, especially for any business. It's extremely important that you keep in touch with your consumers. Like at Colgate, we say consumer is the boss. Consumer is we design for the consumer, right? Across all the touch points, either it's on the product front, on the execution point, on the distribution front, or communication, right? We need to ensure that
So there's
everything.
a call. Let's take this one.
Sure.
Good evening. Hello, you're welcome to Consumers Connect.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so the conversation. Yeah, okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay, my comment about product generally is that producers of commodities or goods should go the extra mile to just give us the details of the ingredients or the materials used to produce. So that upon looking at it and wanting to buy, you just want to be sure that you are consuming a product that you are not allergic to. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Well, last week we talked about, was it the week before, we talked about product labels. Is there another call? Okay. So we talked about product labels and the need for, we talked about product labels and the need for consumers to check the product labels to be better informed of what to expect. Because, consumers always speak about value, want this, value for our money. And sometimes they complain they're not getting the value as promised. But they forget that there's a product label that specifically tells you what to expect from the product. So, can you just respond as the brand rep here so I don't speak too much? Yes, sir.
Actually, the ingredient is a regulatory requirement that you have to put. If you don't do that, you would not get NAFDAC approval. So I think the government have done a really good job in standardizing that. So at every point in time, consumers will be able to know what exactly in the product, so you understand if I'm allergic to this, you avoid it, or if it's safe for me, right? And I think one thing NAFDAC has also done very well is also regulatory claim, right? Making sure that whatever the brands are claiming, the product can actually deliver on it. So that responsibility is already there. As a manufacturer in Nigeria, we are required to oblige within that framework.
Okay, thank you very much. The number to call again is 08058 975897. Like I said, you can call on WhatsApp, send a message via WhatsApp. We'll be happy to hear your voices. This is the Consumers Connect, where the consumers' voices are heard. I was speaking to a rep from Toleram, Colgate and Hypo. And so, sir, the first question is, millions of Nigerians use Colgate products every day. Now, can you give us a sense of the scale of daily purchases? And with so many consumers, how do you ensure that feedback is heard and reflected in your products and services?
100%. Thank you for that question. Many people don't know, actually, Colgate is the most penetrated brand in the world. More than 60% of households in the world use Colgate, right? And with that scale means you have the right framework to make sure that you continually deliver on what the product is intended for, and you have a established channel to get feedback on the consumer so you can continue to improve in your product. In Nigeria, about 10 million households specifically trust our product and choose our product on a daily basis. And we have established channels to get feedback on the consumer. So you can visit our website, Colgate.ng or Hypo.ng, to directly talk to the brand, right? You will see our email address and our phone numbers that you can reach us there. And you can also reach us directly on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We even have YouTube channels that you can directly talk to the brand. So we have social media experts dedicated to receiving all the feedbacks, and even if you are not directly reaching us, just tagging us or just mentioning the brand name, we have a tool that allows us to do what we call social listening. So we're able to understand what exactly people are talking about, even if they are not directly reaching out to us.
Okay, there's a call. Good evening. You're welcome to Consumers Connect. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You're welcome to Consumers Connect.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, you're welcome. Please share your thoughts.
Okay, my opinion on this consumer feedback, I think the feedback from consumer doesn't just improve the product, it also helps in marketing. As of my field as a pharmacist, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Tama. As my field as a pharmacist, before 2018, there is something that happened in pharmaceutical market. There is a big change in pharmaceutical market in Nigeria. Many people who are taking anti-malaria drug before then, they are all complaining that anti-malaria drug is bitter, is smelling. Like bitterly, people were complaining, but none of the major pharmaceutical companies in Nigeria pay attention to this feedback from consumer. People are complaining it's bitter, nobody pay attention. Until around 2016, that every farmer went on research to get a feedback from consumer, and they discovered that one of the barriers to people taking anti-malaria drug is because it smells, it doesn't taste good. So, and then they went back on the research and that was only to Amatem subject. They don't talk about Amatem subject, the very first brand in Nigeria that comes as a subject. So, now people are now using the Amatem subject and they begin to give a positive feedback. This one doesn't smell, this one doesn't smell, and then that feedback has helped them to improve the product and also in marketing.
Thank you so much, Tama.
I think consumer feedback is so important in both product improvement and also marketing.
Thank you so much for that feedback.
Just my little
Thank you, Tama.
on this.
Okay, thanks. So the number again to call is 08058975897. You can call on WhatsApp, or better still send a message on WhatsApp. So can we move on to the next question? Now, can you share a real example of when consumer feedback led Colgate, or Hypo as the case may be, to improve an existing product or introduce something new?
Right, sure. About 2 years ago, thereabout, in the height of the devaluation, right? So all the companies, all the toothpaste brand, let me put it that way, they were downsizing. So from 140 gram, the big tube, to 130 gram. And that left space in the tube because the length of the tube was still remained the same, right? So, of course, Colgate also did the same, right? Because of the cost pressure. And then we started getting consumer complaints that, oh, there's a lot of air in Colgate tube, right? When you press it, it's a lot of hair. I'm sure you also saw that in the news, right? So consumers spoke, we listened, right? So because of that, we reduced the length of our tube. So the content was still, the integrity of the content was not in question. 130 gram was 130 gram. Weighed anywhere, it's still 130 gram, right? But then we reduced the length of the tube, that reduced the air, and then we went one step further, right? That was we started a consumer promo, 15% extra on the big tube. So if you see our big tube now, it's 130 gram plus extra 15%. So it's exactly 149.5 gram that we're giving out. So that was a direct result of the feedback we got from consumers that whenever you buy Colgate, it's a lot of air. Right? People were feeling like they were being cheated, and we listened and we made decisions to fix that.
So there's a dynamics that we're going to discuss on the segment called Consumers Courtroom. Very interesting one. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. So, the number to call again is 08058 You can call on WhatsApp or send a message via WhatsApp as well. So, on Consumers Courtroom, it's a segment that is like a court. We'll have case studies. Now, today's case is one many of us can relate to. Now, imagine this: you've been buying the same product. You've been buying the same product, and maybe it's your favorite noodles or your favorite yogurt, a soft drink, a biscuit, or even your favorite seasoning cube. Now, one day something feels different. The taste has changed. Please, listen. And so the texture isn't the same as it was. Some people immediately took to social media, and others called customer care, and please bring back the old recipe, some are saying. Some left reviews. Weeks later, the company makes an announcement that says, "You asked, we listened." The brand introduced another version, saying it has improved the recipe based on consumers' feedback. So here's the twist. Some consumers say this is exactly what we wanted. It is much better. But others disagree. No, the original recipe was the best. Why change something we already loved? So today, members of the consumers jury, have to answer this question. I'd like to also bring this question to you. Now, if you were the CEO, whose voice would matter the most? The majority of consumers are asking for change. There are some loyal customers who prefer the product as it was. So in your case, what would you do? And then for consumers too, I'd like to get your thoughts on this one. If you can't respond right now, you can send us a message on WhatsApp at 08169441721. That's the direct line for Consumers Connect. You can send your feedback. We'll speak about it next week. But to you, Mr. Adetola, what do you have to say in response to this?
See, at the end of the day, I always tell my team that in our line of work, consumers are the one that mark our script. Right? No matter what we do, no matter how fascinating the idea is, if we go to market with it, the consumers are the one to tell us whether they want it or they don't want it. Now, before we go to market, of course, you need to talk to the consumers, you need to do your research, you need to do your pre, and then after you launch, you need to do your post. All of those technicalities, right? If that was my business, I would launch the 2 SKUs. There's something called line extension, right? You launch a new variant. Usually what you see from companies, and I'm going to give an example. Unilever, for example, they have Royco. Royco is bigger in the north, Knorr is bigger in the south, right? Even within my portfolio, right? I have Colgate has the most variants for the consumer in the toothpaste category today. So we try to have a toothpaste for every consumer need. So if you have, if freshness is your concern, we have the Max Fresh, right? If cavity and strong teeth is your concern, we have the cavity protection, right? If strong teeth is the concern, we have the Herbal, right? So different need for different products, services, and when you look at our sales data, you will see that different regions have different SKUs performing better. There is no one SKU that is the biggest across.
Well said. So there was a response. We didn't air that response for a time. That consumer was speaking about certain brands that, he said they are brands that are imported and localized, and that to him he felt that there's a discrepancy in terms of the quality. So when it is imported to Nigeria, the quality is not as it is abroad. So I'd like you to speak to that, because I know that the brand you work for is a global brand. There are so many global brands in Nigeria. But some consumers are worried that when they travel to the US and they get that same brand, it doesn't feel like it's the same experience for them when they buy here in Nigeria.
That can be a concern for some brands and businesses, and frankly, it's due to purchasing power. Right, so the per capita income is different for different countries for these specific reasons, right? However, in Colgate, because we're a truly global brand, right, we use the exact same formula that you find here. This is what you find anywhere in the world. right?
Okay.
So there are some. The only thing is depending on the SKU, you may or may not find it in different part of the country. For example, the maximum capacity protection is more bigger in Africa and Asia. However, we also have portfolio like Total 12s, Optics White, that are, it's the same product you buy in Nigeria that you buy in the UK, that you buy in the US. Exact same product, right? In fact, we share the same line with the UK. We don't take from the same manufacturing facility with the US, but with the UK we share the same facility. Now, for the product that we produce locally here, it's the exact same formula that people in the UK use that we also use here. So for that, you don't have that concern with Colgate. But I do know, so because of the cost, right? So brands need to design for the affordability of their consumers. So it may be accurate for some brands, but for Colgate,
It's not.
we
For
keep the
Tolaram.
standard. Yes.
Tolaram is not. Thank you so much. Before we wrap it up, I would just like you to just speak a little about the Colgate adverts. Do yanga with your smile. Yeah, do yanga with your smile.
Not do yanga with your smiling.
So, just tell us what's the rationale behind that. I mean, we did some review on that ad. Man, the children with their, tell me what's the idea behind that ad? Quickly.
Okay,
yeah,
so
before we
for
wrap
us in Colgate, we like to celebrate everybody's smile, right? We enable, as a brand, we enable people to smile better. And even though we're a global brand, in each country that we operate in, we're a local brand in those brands. So
Okay.
cultural relevance is a very big thing. And so the brief was simple. How can we make Colgate the go-to brand, toothpaste brand for Nigerians, right?
Yes.
But then, how can we make it disruptive? Okay, so first we're a family brand. It meant we need to figure out a way to bring the family together, which was why, what better way to get the attention of the parents than through your children, right? And then how can we be disruptive? How can a toothpaste brand selling toothpaste use kids with gap teeth, right? Everybody you talk to, remember they had because of the kids with the
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes, that was fascinating for me. I'm sorry we need to wrap up the show. I wish we had more time to speak about that. But perhaps we can have future conversations around the ad.
Absolutely.
Because the ad is groundbreaking for me. Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Adetola, for having this time with us.
Thank you so much, Ekene.
I hope you had a great time.
Yes, I did.
And I hope our consumers out there had a great time. Thanks to everyone who called into the show. As we wrap up today's conversation, here's something that you should remember. Every time you buy a product, every time you leave a review, every time you complete a survey, every time you respectfully share your experience, you are doing more than expressing an opinion. You are helping shape tomorrow's product. This is Consumers Connect, and do what to join us same time next week for another interesting conversation. Bye.
Consumer Connect.